Oh, hi there, fellow humans. Yeah, it's me again after a long, long, long time. I'm studying, I'm self-isolating for a week, and then I'll see what I'll do. But don't worry, I'm not really meeting that many people because I don't even have that many people. But today I'm going to create some slides for this Finnish class on Friday. And because my brain has already started up enough for me to be able to speak, but not enough for me to actually motivate myself to do the work I have to do, I decided to create a video. And I've spoken earlier about how I'm going to make some DIY videos and that I don't really know how to do them because I don't want to film the whole process. But there is this way that I create my DIY shirt designs, and I just want to show you some and explain and describe how I make them. And I have some work in progress right now that I was working on yesterday in the evening, so I'm going to show you that a bit of how it looks in the process actually. And since I'm not patient enough to add to this video what it will look like, I'll simply take a photo of it and put it in the thumbnail. So if you're not seeing in the thumbnail, if you're not seeing the final photo of a DIY bag design, then it's probably not done yet, and don't worry, I'll try not to forget that. But here's what I do. So there were some old t-shirts that I wasn't satisfied with what they looked like anymore, so this is an old one and quite a cheap one, I don't know. It's not so bad, but it's the cheap feeling fabric, but it was ugly, so what I did, I just cut out this rectangular shape, and inside of it I created an insect fiend motif, and there were some tiny holes in the bottom that I didn't like, so I created a crop top out of it. And here's another crop top. I'm not really obsessed with crop tops, but this was just something to modify it to make it different, I guess. This is my Virgin Prunes shirt. And on the back, yeah. And just to clarify, I don't really like it when people get money off fake merch. I think buying merch is something to do to really support the bands you listen to. But instead of buying merch, I made these DIYs. So why is that? So first off, I did them for myself, so I don't get any money from it. If I were to make some of it for someone else for money instead of them buying the original merch, it would be kind of different. Maybe I would even do it, because the thing is, the Virgin Prunes broke up before I was even born, and there are some t-shirts out there somewhere. But I just thought it would be nice to make my own, and an insect screen one. I don't know, I just felt like doing it, and this was an idea that came to my head, and I'm not selling these actually. And not that this is some kind of a strong point, so you don't even have to take this point into consideration what I'm gonna say right now, but another thing also is that these designs are maybe a bit different than the original merch. And another thing, not as significant, but it may, if you want to trash talk me for wearing unoriginal merch, which is actually original because I made it, but you know what I mean, is that I'm still propagating the music and people can notice it and, oh, what's that? Oh, it's a band. It's really good. Okay, I'm gonna go and listen to it. I don't even know why anyone would ask this, but we live in a world where copyright is a huge thing, And I understand that because I want to do some art in the future and I don't want to get my work copied. So why am I copying this? But it's not really copying. I don't know how to explain, but you get me, right? So yeah, I would not want to make money of this. This is how I make stuff for myself, and I also don't want it to be just fake merch. If you even want to call it that, I don't think it's merch. It's just DIY logos and pictures of bands, and people have been doing this for decades, you know? I'm sure I'm not the only one, so why am I even explaining myself? But yeah, so I'm going to show you a bit of what I do. So as you see in this one, this is some cheap textile color that I needed to use up. So what I did was I created these big black patches out of some old fabric. I don't even know if it wasn't by any chance the bottom of this very fabric, but no, it feels different. Doesn't matter. The point is that I sewed them up on it, and so I attached them, and then I went around it with this cheap textile color that I needed to get rid of. And here comes the funny part. So what I do is that I download the picture that I want to get there. I modify it. Usually I make some modifications. For this one, I needed to bring the contrast up to make it solely black and white because there was some gray that I didn't want. I think that black and white portraits are very, very cool, so I did that. And then what you do is, uh, what I mean is, I am quite able to draw what I see, but for it to be exactly the way it is and to make it a bit quicker, I just adjust the brightness. I bring it up and then I grab a piece of paper and I put it on a screen and I gently and carefully take a pencil, and what I do is I copy all the lines that are shining through so that I have a stencil on the paper. And then I look at it and do a bit of segmentation. So I see this part, this big white part, and there are some black pieces on it, but they're really tiny. So what I do is that I simply say, okay, this is the one white part, and I cut that out, and I put it on a piece of old white fabric, and I take my pencil again and I copy it onto that, and then I another thing is you need to flip it. If there's some text to, of course, you need to flip it so it's not like in a mirror. That would be really funny. So you need to be. I think it's kind of obvious, but you might not think about it at first. Yeah, so you do that and you create these patches. So I've got the black background, and then I went ahead and this is a very round white head, so I just attached by very high quality sewing this big white patch, this big white head. And then I looked at the stencil again and saw that there's a big black thing inside, so I did that as well. Just very simply these big shapes. And sometimes also the shades around the eyes and the lips, but this time I had some really thick threads, so I just created this by stitching. So when you've got those patches, you create the rest of it by looking at the original picture and stitching. You're basically drawing. You've got some thin threads and you got some thick yarn, and you use all of that to you combine it, and it's like you're using a pencil on paper and you're shading, but it's more binary. So you just got the black and the white. You don't have the shades between those two. And you can see, for example, in the hair, there are, oh, it's still focused on my face. Why are you focused on my face? But you see it, right? There are black and white stitches. So that's how I make it. I don't know, this top probably took me the longest. Then the lettering, that's very simple. You just make the stencil and you just cut that out, sew it on, and you're ready to go. So that's it. And now I'm going to show you what I'm making right now. I got this pretty big bag. I love the color, but the thing is, there's a very cute dragonfly motif here, and I didn't quite like it. It's not my style, so what I did is that I am making a cat skull motif. I like this design. I have a cat skull on this very shelf. It's ethically sourced. I found it. Okay? And I have a video where I'm cleaning this skull, so you can go check it out. I don't know if I'll remember to put the link in the description, but you know, if you're interested, you will find this among my videos for sure. And I really love it because I love cats, and it may sound weird, like, do you love them dead? No, I don't love them dead. I love them when they're alive, but they're beautiful, and so is their anatomy. So it's pretty to have this thing on my shelf. I don't know, this kind of aesthetic. Why do I need to explain myself? I don't know, because people are very, 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 very weird sometimes, and so am I, maybe. I don't know. It took my mom quite a while to get it, and I think she still doesn't. But the point is, I'm normal. It's just, yeah. But it's pretty. So here's my stencil. I took a photo of the skull and I adjusted the contrast to only have black and white. And the middle part, yeah, here it is. So this is what it looked like. It doesn't have the bottom jaw because I didn't find that, so I don't have that. And I think it's pretty even without the jaw. It's just some vulture culture stuff. But I wanted it to at least have the teeth, which it also doesn't have. So I added the teeth here in the bottom. They're tiny, so I'm gonna have to create them using only stitches. And why I cut out this part is because I had this triangle of fabric, and this looked like I may just make it out of this, as you can see. So I used that, so I cut it out and I put it on the fabric and I cut it. And it's already on, as you see. So yeah, these white shapes look just weird, but they're just the bottom layer. So after that, I began stitching the nose, and that's where I am right now. Here's a white thread just hanging out there, because I'm going to use it later. And my plan now is simply make some more tiny patches, put them all together, then create the details. by making stitches. And that's how I make my very own custom textile designs. So that's probably it. So now I'm going to stop the video, go upload it, and finally, perkele saatana, make the presentation for my Finnish class. Bye. Stay healthy.